Hello and welcome to How to Navigate a Virtual Career Fair. My name is Paul Krawitz. I'm one of the career consultants here at the University of Texas at Dallas University Career Center. Thanks for joining me today. Let's get started. So we're going to begin with the purpose of career fairs, and these hold true for virtual or in-person career fairs, but it's a great way to get an introduction to future career paths, occupations, and organizations. Remember, you have the opportunity to meet in a group setting or one-on-one with actual hiring managers and recruiters from organizations. So it's a great way to meet these employers that are actively looking, that have positions now or possibly in the future. It's an opportunity to network with those that are in the industry that you want to work in. It allows you to learn. It's a learning experience to gain information about the company, about the industry, about the particular job and the role, trends, things along those lines. And it may clarify your career goals. Maybe you go and you visit with potential employers for a couple of different types of positions. And maybe at the end of it, it clarifies what your career goal is. It introduces you to opportunities, whether they be internship, co-op, part-time or full-time. You learn more about the hiring process. So you have an expert right there virtually that can answer any questions about the hiring process, the various steps that are involved. You learn job requirements, and then it allows you to talk with hiring managers and recruiters, but it's a virtual, quote, face-to-face environment. And this is extremely important that you're able to meet with them. They can put a virtual face with a name, and you have that ability to for that type of contact and the ability to make that connection with that person in the moment. So how to access the career fair. This is done through Handshake. I'll talk a little bit more about Handshake at the end of this presentation, but you'll go to events. So once you log into Handshake, you'll go to events. You'll see a tab for that. You'll see a list of all the events, and then you pick the event. In this case, this is an all majors virtual career fair, day one. There's often a day two. So you'd pick the appropriate day. It tells you the day, the date, and the times. And then it'll identify available sessions, your schedule, and career fair details. But you'll note the register button up here. So you'll simply click on register, and it'll add it. You'll get a confirmation email with links for joining the meeting. And then there's a description of the meeting there at the bottom. There's two opportunities for you if you're wanting to meet with employers, and one is group sessions and the other is individual one-on-one. So group sessions allow you to engage with employers in a group setting. It's a little bit longer. It's about a 30-minute meeting. Now, when you join that, you'll be there with other students and a hiring manager or recruiter or several recruiters from that company. And they'll be sharing their screen most likely, and they'll provide an overview of the company, maybe their vision, their mission, maybe current openings that they have, maybe what they look for in potential employees. So it's informational. They may provide a Q&A at the end. I would follow their lead as to whether or not you need to be on camera or not. It just depends on the employer. So that's a group session, and you'll see this company, their logo, their name, their location, a description of the company, and then we see they're having group sessions, one from 2 to 2:30 and one from 4 to 4:30. So you would click on that, and then that's going to be added to your sessions. And so you basically build out your schedule here, and you might have a couple of group sessions with a few different companies, and maybe you have some individual sessions also. The individual sessions, just like it sounds, is one-on-one. So it's you with an employer. I would plan to be on camera with that, and that allows you to talk to an employer representative. It's shorter though than the group session. It's 10 minutes. So it's a start time and an end time. I would arrive early virtually, and I'd be waiting to join the meeting before before the actual start time. I'd be prepared to introduce myself and maybe ask a question or two. 10 minutes goes by really fast, but it is an opportunity to potentially ask a question or two. And here in that scenario, if the company's offering it, instead of group session, you'd see individual session, say 2 to 210 and 210 to 220, so on and so forth. And again, those individual sessions will show up under the Your Sessions tab here. Another thing you can do is identify the companies that will be there as you sign up for sessions. So I see the logo, the name, the location of the company, public versus private. I see the industry, family that they're in, and then kind of how many, how many employees they employ. It's going to give a description of the company, highlights from reviews. So these are student reviews. Some of the comments or highlights, such as a large company, social events outside of work, good mentoring, things along those lines. We have a Q&A session here. Everything you need to know from those who have been there, done that. And so you see, how can I succeed at a company? What's the average day? So on and so forth. So you see sample questions and responses from various individuals. Finally, we have contact information, which can be very helpful. So we've got a website, a phone number, and an email, and then a social media, a collection of social media links there. Now that's important because we highly recommend that you do your research on the company before the meeting, whether it's group or one-on-one, and that employer website and social media could be great resources for the vision of the company, the mission, the culture. Through social media like Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, we might see some current events that are occurring there. And those are helpful if you do have an interview or one-on-one session, or maybe in an interview later on, they might say, why do you want to work for us? And that research allows you to answer that question and why the job may be a good fit for you. LinkedIn is another resource to find out more about the company and employees that work for the company. Glassdoor is accessible via the web, and you can find out information from current and past employees. The McDermott Library may provide resources on various companies. And then on the UCC University Career Center resource page, you'll see BuzzFile. And BuzzFile contains a lot of different information on many different companies that could be helpful to you in your research. So preparation is really critical. One thing is your resume critique. You may have your resume in Handshake. You may need to email your resume. But before you do that, you want to have it critiqued. You want to have it checked by a professional. Here in the University Career Center, we have 5 career consultants that work with various schools that are happy to do your resume critique and provide feedback to you. There is something called an applicant tracking system, and that compares the job description to the resume. And oftentimes companies will use that as the first step before a hiring manager ever looks at the resume. So the career consultants are trained to know what will go, what would be accepted and read properly on a resume and what would not. So that's another reason to have your resume critiqued by a professional. I would prepare also an elevator pitch, and I'll talk about that a little bit more, but part of the preparation is writing that out, practicing it, and memorizing it. And then outfit. We want to dress professionally. And I know it's virtual, but there's something about being professionally dressed. If you put, if you're male and you put on a coat and tie, um, then or a female with a business suit with a nice jacket and a nice blouse that are professional, it makes you feel more confident. It makes you feel better about yourself, and it makes it feel like it is an interview, a meeting, a business meeting about your future. So it generally people that are dressed professionally feel more confident and they feel more professional. So we recommend that, even though it's virtual, we recommend that you dress like you would for an in-person uh, career fair. So think interview attire, think professional attire. Back to the elevator pitch. The result, the elevator pitch is probably going to result from a question like, well, tell me about yourself. Maybe you're in a one-on-one meeting and the first thing the career recruiter or hiring manager says is, tell me about yourself. So we want a statement in there, a prepared statement. It's generally 60 seconds to 2 minutes. That's about you, your goals, your strengths, your accomplishments, and what you're seeking, the job that you're seeking. Um, don't forget that job description. You want to tailor this elevator pitch to this job that you're applying for. So study the job description. Prepare your elevator pitch based on that job description. And it's an opportunity to show them your personality, but still being highly professional. So tell me about yourself. Practice the elevator speech. It's a very, very common opening question. And if you're unsure where to start, you can Google elevator pitch. I usually recommend, something about the past, something about the present, something about the future. When you do answer that question, there's tons of resources on the internet about effective elevator pitches. Other questions that you might get, even in a short interview, is, what qualifies you for this position? Or why should we hire you? So study the job description, be able to answer that question. Based on the job description, what can you bring to this company? What tangible skills, knowledge, and abilities do you have that would make you a good fit for this company based on the job description? Remember, that job description is describing the ideal candidate. It's describing the person they're going to hire. What do you know about the company? So it's important to research the company. Why are you interested in the company? Same thing. I just went over several resources there, and it makes a huge impression when you're able to say, I noticed that y'all were, earned this accolade or this award, or y'all were one of the most desirable companies to work for in the DFW area, or some sort of accolade. That goes a long way in your discussion with the hiring manager, and it shows them that you care, you want the job, and you took the time to research their company. And then tell me about your professional goals. And, in response, study the job description and make sure it aligns with the company, with that position, and put yourself in the shoes of the hiring manager. How do your goals impact the company? What can you do for the company? What do you have to offer them? And how does that align with your professional short-term and long-term goals? So some do's and don'ts. So one do, the day of the fair, dress professionally, dress interview attire, test your equipment. Maybe before the career fair starts, you test your equipment with a friend, another student maybe that's also attending, and you check your video feed, you check your audio, you check your background behind you, you make sure everything looks good and professional. Double check your schedule, and related to that, be on time. If you have an appointment at 2 o'clock, I would suggest you log in and you're available at 1:55, and that you're waiting on the hiring manager to start the meeting, and not the other way around where the hiring manager is waiting on you. So just being on time and actually being early. Some don'ts. Don't wait till the last minute to make your schedule. There's significant research, and you'll see all the companies from Handshake that will be attending, who's offering sessions. So creating your schedule is going to be time consuming, and you want the most bang for your buck, and it's your time. So there's probably some key companies that you want to meet with. So make sure you sign up and realize there's only sometimes one-on-one meetings, there's a limited number. So if they're all taken, then you've missed an opportunity to meet virtually face to face with a hiring manager. So don't wait to the last minute. Don't bail on employers. That sends a very bad message. It really burns bridges. So if you have a 2 o'clock appointment, then make sure you're there at 2 or slightly before, but never bail on a hiring manager or recruiter. We don't recommend a mobile device like a phone to join the meeting. A desktop or laptop would be much better. The connection's better. It's more stable. The pictures, that is, the quality overall is going to be better. Related to that is your background and any distractions. We certainly want a neutral background. We don't want pets, dogs, cats, children, significant others behind you, or causing any distractions or noise during this professional meeting. So try to avoid those as much as possible. And with the mobile device, we certainly wouldn't want to be on our phone in a car or something like that, even pulled to the side of the road. It just doesn't portray a great professional image. So consider these: joining with your desktop and making sure there's no distractions, and considering the background behind you. It's important to follow up after a meeting. So you've met with the hiring manager, you're very interested in the internship or the job, you want to follow up. So my recommendation is to say, what's the best way to follow up? Ask the hiring manager. See what the next steps are in the hiring process or in the application process. You need to take some time to identify the employers of interest, like I mentioned before. Those that you have a strong interest in, it's a good fit, I want to work for them. You need to send a thank you email also. So either that day or the next day, send a thank you email for their time in one paragraph, thanking them. The next paragraph, you might identify something that stood out, something that made an impression on you. I especially enjoyed talking about X, but commenting on your specific meeting with that hiring manager. And then in the final paragraph, just next steps. I'd be happy to talk to you. Please feel free to contact me, or if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. You'll see templates on, you could Google thank you, interview thank you notes, and you'll find plenty of resources, but that's generally what they contain. Also, check Handshake. The employer that you identified, they may be coming to campus for in-person visits. They may be here for virtual visits. They may be holding educational sessions. Handshake is a great resource. It's updated daily. There's always events going on, so keep an eye on Handshake for those things. So how to make an appointment. Again, we highly encourage you to get your resume reviewed before the career fair. So just log into Handshake, click on the Career Center in the top right, click on Appointments, and then schedule a new appointment. And when you click on that, you'll see various categories of appointment types. For example, resume reviews, or mock interview, or salary negotiation, or LinkedIn review. Pick on the appointment type that best suits your needs. And then you'll be given options for dates and times that work, that are currently available. Thank you for joining me. Hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, you can certainly email us at careercenter@utdallas.edu. And realize that there's a longer version of this if you'd like to get a more detailed explanation of how to navigate a virtual career fair. Be sure to find that video for even more detailed information. Thank you very much.